Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm bringing you another DIY video. We are making solid bubble bath bars. The design of this bar is inspired by a bath bomb post from Brambleberry very recently. I believe that bath bomb is called Wildflower Bath Bomb. So Brambleberry is actually an online supply store for DIY. They make awesome tutorials for bath body stuff, skincare products, and sometimes makeup. I really like them. I think they make very professional tutorials. So this recipe for the bubble bar is also derived from a Brambleberry recipe. I just changed it a little bit. Basically, I reduced the amount of glycerin used in the bubble bars, and also I added a little bit cocoa butter. I feel like the cocoa butter really helps the bars to harden, and also reduce the glycerin would reduce the amount of time required for drying the bars. Other than that, everything is Brambleberry original. We tried a little this afternoon for my son's bubble bath, so it went pretty well. We only took a tiny little bit from the bar because he doesn't have a very big bathtub, so it generated a lot of bubbles, and he really enjoyed it. So I believe this is a very good recipe, and also because I am not selling these bars, that's why I'm gonna give you my full recipe. If you are interested, go ahead and check it out and feel free to use it for yourself. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get it started. Okay, I skipped the boring part and have already put the dry ingredients right here and the wet ingredients together. So basically the wet ingredients is liquid glycerin, castor oil, and the fragrance oil. Today the fragrance oil I'm using is this sparkling Snowflake fragrance oil from Crafter's Choice. I purchased it from Wholesale Supply Plus. Then the dry ingredients is baking soda, cream of tartar, corn starch, and SLSA. It's a full name, the sodium lauryl sulfate acetate or something like that. So basically SLSA is a bubbling agent. You really need it in your bubble bar. If you use other bubbling agents like a polysorbate 80, you won't be able to get the same effect. Also, some bubble bars has SLS, which is not as gentle as SLSA. Since I'm making this for one of the little kids, so I need to use a very gentle bubbling agent, which that's why I really like a Brambleberry, because they do take consideration in their formulation. So let's start. It's actually very simple since I have already mixed my dry ingredients and wet ingredients. Now I'm just gonna put my wet ingredients into my dry, then start mixing. Oh, so there's one thing I want to mention is that the SLSA, it really stimulates your respiratory system. So when you are working with it by itself, then you really need to be careful. So try not to make a lot of powder poofing out, otherwise you're going to be sneezing all the time. But once the SLSA is mixed with the other dry ingredients, then you're good to go. Of course, after adding the wet ingredients in there, it doesn't matter either. So it's just the only difficult part is when you are working with it alone, when you are scooping out SLSA. Now, let's mix. Because today, I'm trying to make a white kind of a bar. That's why I am not adding any colorants in there. Otherwise, I would add in some water-soluble colors. You can also use mica, which would give it some sort of shimmery effect in the bath water. But in that case, you will have to use a lot of polysorbate 80. Otherwise, you're gonna get a color mica ring on your bathtub. So that might be a little bit difficult to clean. But I generally don't like doing that because I hate that mica ring. That's why I always use water-soluble color. Usually it's the FDNC color or DC color. Okay, so now the wet ingredients is in. Then I'm just gonna start mixing with a spatula. Later, I'm gonna go in with my hands because the spatula won't do the job. Eventually, it's gonna become a very thick dough. Oh, by the way, I don't use as much glycerin as on the Brambleberry recipe because I found out that it makes my dough very wet. Maybe because the climate here is more humid. Okay, so now it starts to be a little bit thick. You can see that it's a pretty thick dough. Then, the powder is not completely mixed in yet. That's why I need to go in with my hand to mix it up. Eventually, it's going to be well mixed. It could take some time. This is going to make your glove very dirty, so be prepared for that. The good part about not using a colorant is that eventually you won't have a colored water bath. Some people don't like it, but I personally really like colored water bath. So honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed that it's not gonna be colored. But I think for the best effect, I'm just gonna keep it wet. I mean white. So now eventually the dough is forming pretty well. I have already shaped it into a giant log, and I also changed my gloves so it's clean. So now I'm gonna chop it into multiple bars, then start decorating. I know the log is not perfect, but it's okay. I'm gonna reshape each bar anyways. So yeah, let's start. I'm gonna cut off the first bar. Let's see. Wow, this is gonna be a giant bubble bath. See? So the reason I'm very careful about the amount of glycerin I'm adding is that if you got the dough too wet, then it's gonna be very difficult to cut and also move them around when they're not dried. But now, because this dough is not very wet, that's why it's very easy for me to cut and then later decorating, moving, all those things. It's exactly the right consistency that I wanted. Okay, now each bar has been cut. Then I'm gonna try to move the whole thing a little, then start decorating these bars one by one. See, these bars are very easy to move. I know there's a little stuck on the bottom, but that's okay. If they are too wet, then it's gonna be impossible to move them. They're just gonna be like gloppy. Here, I'm gonna start with the first bar. So a lot of people know about what's that? LUSH, right? So I want to make a giant bar like theirs. Yeah, it's pretty good. Maybe smooth out the surface a little more. Okay, this bar has been shaped. Now I'm going to show you, this is the flower mix I got. It has calendula petals, cornflower petals, some jasmine buds, and some lavender buds on the bottom. So I'm going to try to pat the flower petals and the buds on top of the bar. I'm going to press them in so they actually stick on the bar. Okay, so this is the first finished bar. I honestly hope that I put some red rose petals in there, then it would be maybe better. But I think this looks pretty good as well. I decided to put the petals all over because this is a very big bar. Then they may not use the whole bar for one bath. That's why they may cut it off or crumble it off. So since the petals are everywhere, then even if they just crumble a little, then there's still gonna be some petals in the bath water. So see, Now I'm gonna finish doing the rest, then show you the final products. So this is the final product. I'm very happy with these little cakes. I mean giant cakes. So see? They're very pretty. I really like them. I think they make perfect gifts. I will have to stand them up, then set them dry for at least 48 hours before packaging. So I hope this video has been informative. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.